All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. All right. Good morning. We are about to start our radio show. I hear commercials in my ear, but we're going to get started. And I think what I'm going to start doing is making sure that we have our intro music on our show here live. But if you want to hear me on the radio, you can actually download the KBLA 1580 app. It's an app you can download. All right, I hear you. And my engineer just told me we're going to go live. I'm excited. Good morning, everyone on the West Coast, and to those of you on the East Coast, good afternoon, and to those of you in between, good afternoon. I would like to welcome everyone to Ahead of the Crypto Curve. I'm your host, Naja Roberts, and it is my mission in life to lead my people out of financial slavery on this virtual underground railroad. I don't just do this show to change the way you think about money, but to make you change the way you look at money and everything else around you because it absolutely matters. You see, today is Sunday, December 22nd, 2024. And what an incredible day it is. And I'd like to just say a special shout out this morning to my childhood best friend, Lily Marnell Jones. She turned 55 and we had a bash this weekend. And happy birthday to each and every one of you who have had birthdays in the last week. I hope that your day was filled with all the love, joy, happiness, peace, and understanding that you deserve on your birthday. And if you want to get a birthday shout out, please do me a favor and send me a text message to 424-317-7373. Again, 424-317-7373. And you know what else? If you have any cryptocurrency questions or you have a coin or something that you would like for me to address, if you would be so kind as to send me a text message, I can start looking it up. I can show you how, which in fact, today I'm going to show or teach some of the listeners how they can go about really researching a lot of the coins that are going to start to pop their head up. There is a lot going on in this space, and I'm going to continuously say to each and every one of you, money is changing, money is changing, money is changing, and everything around you is going to change, and everything points back to money. And so, as we continue to learn, as we continue to educate ourselves in this cryptocurrency space, I have to let you all know that change is coming. And make no mistakes about it. Change is happening while we are being distracted. I cannot go any further in this show. I have to stop and say Rest in heaven to Robin Ayers, one of our show hosts at KBLA. They had her homegoing services yesterday, her homegoing celebration yesterday. And so, to Robin Ayers, we will continue to thrive and we will continue to live through your eyes. And the legacy that you left was and is incredible. So, with that, ladies and gentlemen, let me just say change is painful. And this is a quote. This is actually a quote. Change is painful, but nothing is as painful as staying stuck. It is something, ladies and gentlemen, that we are going to have to endure. We're going to have to learn. We're going to have to participate. I just don't want you to be one of those folks that are just sitting on the sidelines, letting things happen to you. Again, growth is painful, change is painful. But staying stuck somewhere you don't belong is where you don't want to be. And so, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to help you through this labyrinth of change as it relates to money because it is coming. And so, as we continue to really try to understand what is happening, I am going to begin to share more of what our government is starting to do to prep our country for different times. Now, I'm not going to say immediately that the central bank digital currency is going to be ushered in because that's going to take a little bit of time. But I don't want you to be distracted and think that it's not going. So, as that it's not going to happen. So, as we are learning different things and we're paying attention to what President Trump is saying, what he is doing, what his motive is, I want you all to continue to ask yourself the question that I have been prepping our audience for the last 2.5 years since I've been on the radio. Ladies and gentlemen, ask yourself why. Why are they saying that? Why are they doing that? And I'm going to say to our community, one of the things that we grew up with, if you're my age or older, was don't ask why, just do what I say. And that's what we learned from our parents. And I'm not saying that it's all bad, but what I want us to stop doing is taking people's word at face value and start to ask yourself, why are they doing or saying what they're doing? What is the reason that is happening? And why are they telling me this? Because it could be possibly that it's a do as I say, not as I do, because in the background, they're building a strong foundation to be able to transfer wealth, be it to themselves, be it to the people around them. But I think, ladies and gentlemen, based on the amount of money that is out there, money is everywhere. Everywhere you look is money. And something happened this week, and I got a epiphany. I had my little kids in the car, and I said to them, we pulled up in a parking lot, and I said to the kids, I said, "What do you guys see through the front of this front window?" And so all four of them were looking through the front window, and they were like, what are you talking about? Like, I see cars, I see people walking with bags. I said, what does all of this stuff in front of you represent? And the oldest one that I'm very proud of at 14, he says, money. I said, yes, money is everywhere. The cars cost money. The gas costs money to put in the cars. The tires that are on the cars cost money. The food that the people have in their hands in those bags cost money. The people that grew the food need money to grow more food, and just start looking at things in a different way, ladies and gentlemen. We are in a situation where we've got to monetize everything around us. And again, I want to make sure that we're clear. The Bible says that the love of all money The love of money is the root of all evil. It did not say money was the root of evil, but the love of money. So I really want to say to each and every one of you today, let's look at ways that we can monetize any and everything around us to better our situation, to give us more money to be able to save and invest because we're going to need it. We're all getting up into retirement. And I got a sneaky suspicion that some things are going to happen with Social Security and some things are going to happen with some of the retirement plans that we have been benefiting. Some of us have benefited if we retired early, but some of us are still working to try to benefit in retirement. And we're going to need to do those things. But, ladies and gentlemen, when we come forward after the commercial, we'll continue the conversation. This is KBLA Talk 1580. All right, y'all. Good morning. I'm on the radio, the commercials in my ear, and I got to try to work with my engineer so that he knows exactly what I'm doing, because he made my mic live when I was trying to talk to you all before the show started. So forgive me for my silence at the beginning. It's just some things I'm going to have to work through as I work from home. And so I really, really appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in today. In case you didn't know, my name is Naja Roberts, and my show is Ahead of the Crypto Curve. I'm on KBLA Talk 1580, which is app you can download and you can listen into. But we got a lot of stuff happening. And so we're going to really talk today. We're going to talk about what Trump is doing, what he's saying, how it has caused the price of Bitcoin to go up, and what the governments and banks are doing. Because y'all know I have had a situation with banks, and not necessarily our government, but that's a whole nother story. But our banks definitely have given us a hard time in this space trying to run a business. But guess what, y'all? We gonna be back. We are back. We're still a Bitcoin only exchange, so you can buy Bitcoin specifically from us, just like you would any other exchange. We have the same licenses. Yes, you have to KYC and all those things, but we're here for you. And any smaller transactions, we're going to make sure that you have the right avenue to get your stuff done. But, ladies and gentlemen, the time is nearing. We are just a little bit over 15 days, I think, away from President Trump, his inauguration, being the second president to ever have a split term like this. And so he's getting back in here, ladies and gentlemen, and believe it or not, they're talking about a lot of things, but they're talking about cryptocurrency. I was feeling like Donald Trump was doing some things because him and his son were starting their own exchange as well, which they do. They have a motive, but doing exactly what I was saying, which was watching El Salvador. And I've been saying that our community needs to really model what El Salvador is doing because of the Bitcoin reserves and the things that they have. We literally right now could have closed the wealth gap if folks was listening, but didn't happen that way. But we're going to talk about some of the things that are going on right now in the cryptocurrency space and what Donald Trump is talking about just when I come out of the commercial right now. All right, welcome forward, welcome forward. So most of you all know, if you've been following me, that the banks, first of all, I don't even want to say that they mocked the Bitcoin space. I believe that they believed early on about the Bitcoin space. However, they had to position themselves to make sure that they benefited and that money that was coming out of the banks, they were able to uh, still control. And so early on, we talked about the banks being able to custody your Bitcoin because that's what they were trying to do. It does not matter if you have Bitcoin or not. If you don't control it and somebody else controls it, it means you don't really own it. Just like the money you put in the bank, you don't really have the money unless you go to the bank or unless you actually utilize that money. Because even with the paper dollar, it sits there in your bank account. You can see the number, But what they're doing with your money is investing and doing other things. And then when you come to get it, then they give it to you, which is why these things called bank runs have shut down banks over the last several years. If there is a panic by the people that bank their money at an institution, that if there's some sort of panic, and people feel like the bank actually does not have their money and everybody goes to withdraw their money at the same time, it causes the banks to collapse because the banks do not, and I'm going to repeat, they do not have all of the money that we deposit in the banks on hand. And that is what a bank run is. But the banks know this. And the banks not only gave us such a hard time in the cryptocurrency space, some of them even mocked what we were doing in the Bitcoin space because they didn't want people to go towards it. But the government has done that as well. But right now, what has been proven, ladies and gentlemen, unequivocally, is that Bitcoin has been proven to be one of the best performing assets in modern history. Imagine that. The value of cryptocurrency has increased some thousand times over in the past decade, and it far outpaced any of the United States stocks and real estate that a lot of people hold today and are really still getting involved in. And so, what I'm going to say is, I am never one of those people that say go all in, specifically all in on cryptocurrency. Diversify your portfolio. You have your stocks, you have your bonds, you have your real estate, you have your cryptocurrencies, and inside of the cryptocurrency space, you have a lot of different cryptocurrencies. Diversification is key because we have no idea what is about to take place. But what we do know is the United States President elect Donald Trump is a cryptocurrency friendly individual. And I'm going to say that right there. And I believe initially that he was only crypto friendly because his son decided to open a cryptocurrency exchange. But I also know that this is the same Donald Trump that said that Bitcoin was a scam. But Bitcoin's record rally actually hit a new high on Monday of $108,000 after the Republicans actually reiterated his intention to create a Bitcoin strategic reserve. Now, I got to get my listeners to start to key their ears in when you hear Bitcoin strategic reserve. So, there's a couple of reasons I want you to keep your ears peeled for Bitcoin strategic reserve. Number one, if you hold Bitcoin, that's the asset that the Bitcoin strategic reserve is going to be on. And so, with that, I'm not saying don't invest in Ethereum. And let me put a pin in it right now. I am not a financial advisor anymore on purpose. I am not giving you any financial advice. But I will say to you, ladies and gentlemen, that words are important. So if the president of the United States is talking about a Bitcoin strategic reserve, then I kind of think the little red truck that is traveling in front of you that has sirens would say to you, maybe I should put a little bit of Bitcoin in my portfolio. Why Naja Roberts, other than the president of the United States saying that he is talking about putting together a Bitcoin strategic reserve? Well, there are independent states in the last week or so that are announcing a Bitcoin strategic reserve. Ding, ding, ding. So, if the question is, should I invest in Dogecoin? Uh, Maybe you should. Maybe you shouldn't. I'm not going to tell you either way. But I'm also going to say that the state and the federal government And let me give you another news flash because Russia is trying to beat us there. They are all announcing Bitcoin strategic reserves. And I'm saying this over and over again, ladies and gentlemen, because as we watch TV, as we watch the news, as we watch the world, we need to figure out what is happening. Why are they putting together a Bitcoin strategic reserve? And how do I look at that to frame it so that I'm able to benefit from what is transpiring, what is happening from the ground level? Now, you may say Bitcoin is not on the ground level because it's at 108,000. Well, today it's at 95,000. And again, it is very volatile. Do not invest more than you can afford to lose. But we get rid of a lot of the volatility by doing dollar cost averaging. And I'm going to continue to say this because we got more people listening. We got new people listening and really understanding that dollar cost averaging gets rid of a lot of the volatility. So I'm going to just really say quickly what that looks like. If you have $100 that you can afford to lose every month, and I don't think anybody can afford to lose any money, but let's just say you have $100 that you would normally go buy some perfume or a pair of eyelashes or something like that, or a wallet if you're a man, or some cowboy boots. I don't know. But if it was $100, I would suggest as an ex-financial advisor that you cut that in half. Just do $50 a month. We don't care if it's at $108. We don't care if it's at $8. Buy yourself that $50 worth of Bitcoin every single month or week, whatever it is that you decide to do. Just go ahead and do that. And that's dollar cost averaging. And it gets you a little bit more when the price is low, and it gets you a little bit less when the price is high. But that's one of the easiest way to get yourself into accumulation of Bitcoin. And so that's what I'm suggesting as we continue to watch the creation of these Bitcoin strategic reserves. And I'm going to need you all to start doing some Googling because it is going down. I know for certain there are at least 4 states that have just announced a strategic bill that they're going to be putting in place to hold Bitcoin in their reserves. So, Bitcoin, as some of you may know, and most of you don't, and so I'm going to just continue to touch on some things that people don't know. It's the first decentralized digital currency. So, ladies and gentlemen, Bitcoin is not the first digital currency out there. There have been cryptocurrencies out there since the late 90s. This is not new. Bitcoin is new, 2009. And this was the first one that actually worked. And it was invented by a pseudo anonymous individual. And we won't get into all of those things, but there was a financial crisis around 2007, 2008 that we all know, especially those of us who either had parents that were retiring or individuals that we were helping as financial advisors, and I was one of those. But let me tell you what I do know. Had I not got my mother's retirement out of Los Angeles Unified School District right around the end of 2008 and get her set it is critically important that we really start to pay attention to timing because timing is everything. And as I stated, if you are getting ready to retire or you're looking to retire, in fact, some of my counterparts are saying based on things that are happening in the marketplace, they are hoping that they can retire in 6 years. So I'm my 55 age, about to be 55. And so 65 is when you're supposed to retire, and that's 10 years. And then people are looking to have to work a whole lot longer because if you look at your 401k, which prayerfully the 401k that you're involved in is starting to invest in Bitcoin just a little bit to help those funds get bigger because the money's not there. If you've opened up your 401 account lately, I think you will find I think you will find that there are some tremendous problems with some of the 401k accounts that are out there. And so I'm hoping, ladies and gentlemen, that you start to pay attention more and more to everything that you are saving in. And with that being said, this blockchain system, which is used by the banks and by our government, and they're starting to put together these different digital ledgers that store these transactions and make sure that everything is the way that it's supposed to be, is going to enable anyone, ladies and gentlemen, to make financial transactions without the involvement of banks. So you've got to ask yourself, how do the banks continue to make the lion's share of the money if they don't control the money anymore? So they're going to get involved in this thing called Bitcoin, whether they're trying to store it for you to charge you fees or whether they're going to get involved in it themselves. It's also going to create an opportunity for financial firms such as your 401ks to make money off Bitcoin. And again, you don't own the Bitcoin, they do, but they're giving you a small percentage of what they're making on it. And it could be okay, just depending on your retirement strategies. But you got to know that you can go get this asset yourself and do good all by yourself. That being stated, our governments are starting to get involved in this space. Once this digital asset takes off more than it ever has before, some of the people that I'm around, some of the people that I listen to think Bitcoin is going to go to $1 million per coin. And I've been saying that. I've been saying that for a long time. Now, it may take us about 10 years to get there. But just what if, ladies and gentlemen? And I know we're not supposed to be talking about speculation again, none of that. But I want you to ask yourself why or how you can participate in this wealth transfer. But once widely um, touted as a speculative asset with no intrinsic value, and again, our dollar has no intrinsic value, it is fiat, 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 money with no intrinsic value other than what the government says it's worth. Now, people might say that Bitcoin is a fiat too because it has no intrinsic value, but it is not governed by what the government says it's worth. There are a group of us, everybody holding it. If you hold Bitcoin right now, you are in control of what the price of Bitcoin is. How is that? Because what are you willing to sell Bitcoin for determines the amount that Bitcoin is actually worth. And so, and investors alike, everybody is really starting to pay attention to what Bitcoin's price is doing. But again, it can definitely arguably be a fiat. Bitcoin could be a fiat, no intrinsic value, but it's backed by all the things that are going on around the world. The fact that it's portable, it's borderless, it is decentralized, and everybody can spin it up and look at what's in the wallets on a computer. But, ladies and gentlemen, when we come forward after news, sports, and traffic, we're going to continue the conversation. This is KBLA Talk 1580. All right, y'all. So guess what? So I've got to figure out how I can let you guys hear some of the commercials and some of the things that we have going on. This is my second week going live, just trying to make sure that we get this information to you all. So I'm trying to see what we got going on here. I'm not going to say this on the radio, but I am going to let you all know that there is a cryptocurrency that is somebody had asked me about. I'm not going to be able to go over it all the way on the radio, but we'll talk about it probably more and more. And I'm not even really sure how you pronounce it, but SUI, and it's S's and Sam UI. And so SUI is supposed to rival Solana. And so I've been taking a look at it, and I found out about it a couple of years ago. And the reason why it didn't really take off is because it came out right around the time that FTX debacle was happening, and people didn't want to hear nothing about a cryptocurrency. So many people had lost so much money. And so this cryptocurrency came out, and Kathy Woods of ARK Investment, she launched this spot exchange that traded these ETFs for Bitcoin and Ethereum. And she released a research report on SUI, and it detailed all of the unique characteristics. For example, it's actually described, um, it has some new technical upgrades that suddenly made SUI faster than other top blockchains by a substantial market. Now, ladies and gentlemen, speed is going to be what a lot of people are looking for as we go into this digital age. And again, I'm not saying Bitcoin is going to be the only cryptocurrency that's going to be used, but we definitely have to really start paying attention to things that offer speed. I know y'all doing well with XRP. I just still am feeling like the rug is going to get pulled from under it. It is not, ladies and gentlemen, going to be the bank's choice for central bank digital currencies. I just don't believe that. And I've been hearing so many rumors. And I know the owners, and I'm not going to talk too bad about them, but I do know that a couple of them are some of those fake it till you make it, or say some of the things that need to be said to get people involved. And I just want you to be careful. If you're making some money right now and you're pulling money out of these coins, please, ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you are putting aside the amount that you need to put aside for your taxes, capital gains. If you're pulling from these exchanges, just know that these exchanges are definitely reporting to the IRS. And you really need to ensure that you are paying attention to all things that are happening. So that's where we are. I'm on a commercial break on the radio, and usually he's going to come back in my ear probably in about 3 minutes to tell me. But if there's any questions or anything like that that you all have, I got to even figure out. I see my comments over here. Hey, Black Regal, what's up? What's up, fam? I appreciate you. I see you on there. I gotta start messing with this StreamYard. So yeah, so we're getting going, but I'm gonna have y'all check out that SUI over the week. Just start to research SUI and see what you think. Even come back and tell me what you think about it. Again, we got to get ahead of this cryptocurrency curve. There's some things coming together, and this tokenization is real. So many things are happening. I'm really, really excited. I think I haven't been excited in a minute. I got to just be honest. I have not been this excited about the space. And it wasn't necessarily because the price was low or we were in a crypto winter. It was because I couldn't really, through the past administration, get some of the things that needed to be done. But you know what? The gig is up, and it's time to really move forward in this space. And we just evaded a government shutdown. But I almost want to tell y'all, I mean, I don't know what Trump is going to do, so I wouldn't stick my foot in my mouth and say we'll never have a government shutdown, because ain't no telling what's going to happen. But one thing I do know is if they put Bitcoin as our strategic reserves, we're going to be in a much better financial situation than we've been. Now, why you need to get your money up is because things are going to start to cost more. And I'll be back on in 1 minute. He just told me, I just heard you. Thank you very much. Got to get your money up. I just looked on at some of the prices of things that have gone up. Eggs, ladies and gentlemen, just went up an entire $1 in the last week. This is about to get real. And so I'm going to tell you, I really was really hoping by now I'd have my own chickens and my own chicken coops, and we can have it out on our farm. But you know, sometimes you got to back up to go forward. And so I'm telling you, self sovereignty is going to be really, really important to us and to our community. So let's get some things going. So I'm coming back on in just a second. So I'm gonna find my way in here. Um, find my way in here and just really conclude with this today. And hopefully my signal will last. All right, welcome forward, and I appreciate each and every one of you. But, ladies and gentlemen, Bitcoin has transformed from a niche asset. Y'all know I was a niche radio show host, right? I'm only talking about cryptocurrency, and I'm not saying that I felt like it was just a niche. I've never thought it was a niche. Other people thought it was a niche, but now they see a little bit different. And this asset is favored by political dissidents, and they want to say that only the people, or they were saying in the past that a lot of people that were using Bitcoin were carrying out illicit transactions. And that's something that the central banks wanted to kind of push so that we would stay away from it. And so we know better now. But the IMF has actually put a very firm anti crypto political guideline into place. And they're starting to negotiate with countries that may require their own assistance. And it's gone from being an academic question to a practical, real one. It's real, ladies and gentlemen, and one that central banks are taking very seriously now. And so, if they're taking it very seriously, shouldn't we be taking it seriously as well? And that's just how I feel. In January of this year, that just passed, the United States Securities and Exchange Commission approved what was called Bitcoin ETFs. Some of you all know, and I'm going to continuously say, if you want to diversify your portfolio in the stocks and ETF space, go ahead and get yourself a Bitcoin ETF. But if you're getting in the Bitcoin space, get Bitcoin, own it, control it, have your private keys. But those ETFs allow investors to have exposure to the asset and not the asset itself, but it's on the stock exchange, as we know, starting last January for the first time. In October, the United States Department of Treasury referred to Bitcoin as digital gold. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, the United States Department of Treasury said that Bitcoin is digital gold. Hmm. I just want to say, what does that mean? Treasury, that's where they save money, where they have money on tap to do what needs to happen or to pay bills, to do what we need to do. Ladies and gentlemen, that's very important because if you note that gold is a store of value. So if somebody says that Bitcoin is digital gold, that means that this particular person or entity feels that Bitcoin is a store of value. Hint, hint. Are we still putting our store of value money into our gambling money, or are we putting together a strategic reserve? I'm going to continue to say that Bitcoin strategic reserve. So if the government can have them, if the states can have them, why shouldn't you have a Bitcoin strategic reserve at your home? Why not? You know why not? You should, ladies and gentlemen, because this is the first time in history you can do what they do and it's all good. And I'm so excited, y'all. I'm pumped up because I just need you to know a number of countries have made big, huge bets on cryptocurrency as well. As I talked about earlier in the show, El Salvador has accumulated. Listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. We didn't have as much money as Kelly Buglele, but President Kelly, let me not downgrade him at all. President of El Salvador We didn't have as much money as he had to invest. But, ladies and gentlemen, they have accumulated over $600 million worth of Bitcoin reserves. And that is just one of the handful of countries alongside Central African Republic. Hint, hint. Central African Republic. I'm going to talk about that on another show because we got a lot to talk about today. But Central African Republic, let me just say this quickly before I move on. They accept Bitcoin as legal tender. And why do you accept Bitcoin as legal tender? So that you can get more and more and more of it in your space. So if you are a person that provides goods and services to people, you can tell them they can pay you in Bitcoin. Why is that? Because that gets you more Bitcoin into your arsenal. Other countries, including the United States and the United Kingdom, have acquired large holdings of Bitcoin. Did y'all know that? Guess how the United States got a massive amount of Bitcoin? Through the seizure of assets, implicating criminal activity. So they got Bitcoin that people were using that were creating illicit activity or doing illicit activity. And the United States has seized at least 215,000 Bitcoin. But guess what the US was doing early on, ladies and gentlemen? They were auctioning off the Bitcoin. But I don't think when President Trump gets in office that Bitcoin is going to be auctioned off anymore. I just thoroughly doubt it because right now is valued at almost $21 billion at the current prices. And since 2020, excuse me, um, we are we've been selling a little bit of Bitcoin here and there, but not like we were initially. But with Trump returning to the White House, I'm going to tell you this. Bitcoin supporters are hopeful that cryptocurrencies will gain unprecedented legitimacy and that most of the governments are going to lead crackdowns on this sector. But if we do this right and there's some regulatory clarity and we know exactly what to do and what not to do, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be in a good space. So, despite what some people still think is a scam, it is happening. Our community needs to know we are here. This is happening. Our president, well, he's not our president yet. We got a couple of more days, but the United States president has vowed to make this the cryptocurrency capital of the planet. And he has picked several high profile enthusiasts to actually help run this crypto administration. And as you all know, the former PayPal chief operating officer, his name is David Sachs. He is our crypto czar. And Paul Atkins is the SEC chair. And so I think we're going to be doing some really good things in the next year. So stay tuned, buckle up. When we come forward after this commercial, we'll continue this conversation. This is KBLA Talk 1580. All right, y'all. So for y'all that are new to radio and understand, and I explained this before, but we say when we come forward because technically, when you say we'll be back, people's brain check out on the radio. So our station mandates us say when we come forward. So when we come back in, I say welcome forward. And so that's where that's coming from. It's not something that I made up. It's just something that really helps our listeners on the radio not tune out to commercials and things like that, because commercials are the reason why on the radio, because they do sponsorships and things like that. So I just wanted to share that little bit of information with you all while we are on our commercial, while I'm saying when we come forward, so you all start to understand. But I really appreciate each and every one of you being on here today. I'm excited about what is happening. And I do have a question. Somebody asked me anonymously. So hi to Marion Bryant. Hello, 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 and hello to Don Mello. It said, Don Mello says, let's see what Don Mello says. I'm trying to, and you guys forgive me, I'm learning how to work this thing. Bitcoin is digital capital in the 21st century money. Bitcoin is also money for 8 billion people. Talk that. That's right. That is right. That is right. That is right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're here. And for those of us that are going to be retiring on the continent of Africa, this is incredible news. 8 billion people. I had on my shirt yesterday that said stand with crypto, and on the back it said 22 million strong. And people are always asking me, is it that many people using cryptocurrency? It is so many more that you don't even know that are using cryptocurrency. So, anyway, I'm super excited. So, I'm about to come back off my commercial break. Um, but we're going to finish this show up talking about what is happening. Um, I hate to be talking about, it is what it is. I shouldn't say I hate to be talking about anybody or bringing up their name. It's our president elect. We need to know what's getting ready to happen before it happens. So let's have this conversation. So I'm probably back in probably about 60 seconds. Oh, 30 seconds, he told me. Thank you. So I'll be back in 30 seconds. And we're just gonna go ahead and wrap this show up today. I got one more commercial break. I'm going to try to come out on time and give you all the prices and some of the things that we're going to go over. But yeah, make sure over the week that you check out that cryptocurrency that I shared with you, SUI, and we'll get going. All right, welcome forward, welcome forward. As we near the top of the hour, let me just say this: Trump's pro cryptocurrency stance has actually found a lot of allies in the United States Congress. And we've been hearing about Senator Cynthia Lummis forever. She's out of Wyoming, which is why most of our cryptocurrency companies are created in Wyoming, and she's a Republican. And she's been really early. She was an early adopter, but this year she introduced the Bitcoin Act of 2024. So for those of you who don't know what that is, start to look it up. Maybe we'll take one of the shows and go over Bitcoin Act of 2024, which would actually include Bitcoin among reserve assets such as gold, oil, and long-term stores of value. So, ladies and gentlemen, if I had the choice to pick from the 30, I don't even know how many I'm going to say 30,000 cryptocurrencies right now, I would bet my ranch on Bitcoin. But under Loomis's plan, the government would actually buy around 200,000 Bitcoins every year for 5 years and then hold the assets for 20 years as a hedge against inflation. So when I read this, I say to myself, what can I do because I definitely can't buy 200,000 Bitcoin. And remember, there is a limited amount of Bitcoin. There's only going to be 21 million Bitcoin. If they're buying 200,000 Bitcoin every year, it's making it scarcer and scarcer, which is going to make the price go up. But I'm not talking about the price appreciation. I'm talking about what I can do in my family to ensure that I have at least two of those Bitcoin. Now, back in the day, when somebody said they had two Bitcoin, I actually laughed because I was like, is that all he got when I was just learning? Just two Bitcoin, two or three Bitcoin, and turning my nose up. But ladies and gentlemen, right now, if you got two Bitcoin, you're doing better than most. So I'm going to say, if they're trying to buy 200,000 Bitcoin every year, you need to be trying to buy two Bitcoin every year. Not financial advice. I got to continue to say that. I'm not providing financial advice. I'm just saying, based on what it looks like and based on the question that my mother and father would never let me ask too many times without getting a nice little pop. Why? Why are we doing this? What read, ladies and gentlemen? Why are we doing this? Because our government is looking at holding Bitcoin in a account as a hedge against inflation. And so We don't want them to have all the Bitcoin and us not have any, or I don't want to be without any Bitcoin in my reserve. I keep saying it. We got to come up with the strategic reserve. And so I think 2025 for the Black and Brown community needs to be the Bitcoin strategic reserve account. That's what we need to be working on, ladies and gentlemen. And we need to make that happen. We need to make it happen not just for our retirements, but we need to make it happen for our family, our children, our children's children, our children's children's children. And continue to say what I've been saying. You better not sell Big Mama's houses, and you better not sell Big Mama's Bitcoin. That's me. And so I thought I was going to be called Big Mama, but I just had my first grandchild he's 3 months old this last Friday. And so he calls me Nana. So I'm going to have to start changing my tune and saying, you better not sell Nana's houses, and you better not sell Nana's Bitcoin, because I had to figure out my grandmother name, so I got it. But anyway, that being said, ladies and gentlemen, based on what Senator Loomis says, and again, I need you to take it down from 200,000 Bitcoin to two for your family. If we did that and we had 5%, we wouldn't have 5% of all the Bitcoin that will ever exist. We'll have probably 5,000. Of no, it would be it's a whole fractional, because it would be a lot less. But if we had a little bit of that Bitcoin that would ever exist, we would be doing incredible. And so if we had just 100 of the 21 million Bitcoin that will ever be put out on the market, we would be doing great, ladies and gentlemen. If you just had one of the 21 million Bitcoin, you would be doing great as well. Why is that, ladies and gentlemen? Because if you look at the amount of millionaires in the world, it's not even enough for every one of them to have one Bitcoin. So if you're holding one Bitcoin, if you are holding one Bitcoin in your portfolio, you are doing better than most of the people all over the world. And so and I know my radio listeners couldn't hear that because it sounded like we went out. But if you're just holding one Bitcoin, you're holding more Bitcoin than 90% of the world. And right now, yes, Bitcoin is at 100,000. Well, it's at 95,000, but you can still get a little bit here and a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit there, and you can build up your reserve. And ladies and gentlemen, that's what we are going to have to do. We are no longer being mocked. We're no longer being laughed at. We're being taken serious, which is what we have been trying to get our community to do for the last, I don't know, 10 years. I've been screaming since 2017. This is what we need to do as a community, but it is time for us to take it serious, because BlackRock CEO Larry Fink has taken it seriously. Our Everybody is starting to take this seriously, and we must as well. But as it relates to some of the other cryptocurrencies, you're definitely going to have to start diversifying in that way as well. But my Bitcoin strategic reserve is for my savings. And that means I'm not spending it. I'm not cashing it out to pay debt, because that debt that I pay, or the cash out that I get for the thing that I buy, is going to make me feel like a fool down the line when I'm driving around in a car that I cashed out my Bitcoin for. And I shouldn't say a fool, because my son, unfortunately, when Bitcoin was $4,500, cashed out one of his Bitcoin to buy his Excursion, his Ford Excursion, the old one, y'all. And that car is now worth $95,000 in Bitcoin. But is it worth that in the real world? No, it's not. My son probably can get 25,000 at best for his excursion. But again, he cashed in an entire Bitcoin at 4,500 to get it. So we've got to think of these things as we continue to really try to figure out what we need to do in this market. So when we come forward, we will continue this conversation. This is KBLA Talk 1580. All right, y'all. While I'm on this commercial break, and I'm not going to talk about this online, again, that coin SUI, and I haven't even bought it yet. Um, a lot of people buy something and then they talk to the community about it so that theirs goes up in price. I'm not that one. And I'm going to be real with y'all. Those that know me really closely will tell you I don't function like that. But I actually have been doing some research this week, trying to really figure out what I need to possibly diversify my portfolio. And so if you go to Coin Market Cap, you can find SUI right now is trading, and I don't even know how you say it, but it's trading at $4.29. It's something I'm going to take a look at, and it's something that I probably this week will pull the trigger on, because if I just spent $100 or $200 in SUI, I'd have a nice little, I mean, not a whole lot, but I'd have some sitting in a wallet somewhere. So I just want to share that with you all. And I don't know how well it's going to do. I do have XRP sitting in a wallet. It's on an exchange that I can't get access to because they're no longer doing business in the United States. My engineer just told me back that I'm back in 20 seconds. So let me get back to prices, and we'll end this show. And I thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm coming back on in just a second. Appreciate y'all and your patience. All right, welcome forward, welcome forward. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go to Coin Market Cap to see where we are right now. Bitcoin right now is trading at $94,697. It is down in the last hour 1.28%. It is down in the last 24 hours 2.5%. It's down in the last 7 days 8.27%. Y'all know I hope it goes down substantially so that we can get more of it while it is low in price. But right now, Ethereum is trading at $3,237 as we speak. XRP is at $2.20. It's down as well. I'm looking at reds all the way down. Solana's down. Dogecoin's down. Cardano's down. Every one of these coins, ladies and gentlemen, tend to mimic what Bitcoin is doing. Where are we on the fear and greed index? We're at 59%, which is neutral. The Bitcoin dominance, ladies and gentlemen, which is what I used to watch to tell myself what I should buy and how much I should hold in my portfolio. Bitcoin is at 57% dominance. So what I used to do is I would have a cryptocurrency portfolio, and 57% of that would be in Bitcoin. And then Ethereum, right now it says it's at 12%. So then I would have 12% in Ethereum. And the rest of that 100%, after you take 57 and 12, of course, you have 69. So then you'd have all the rest of it spread out around other cryptocurrencies. So what are those other cryptocurrencies? You need to make sure that you're doing your research and that you're understanding what those coins are. We're not going to go into any of that right now, but I do know that we need to start to teach people how to research these coins because there's going to be a lot of them that come up. I want to thank each and every one of you for rocking with me here on Ahead of the Crypto Curve. Please stay tuned for Dr. Tyrone Howard. You must learn. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the rest of your week. Stay alert. Stay strong, begin to prep because the digital revolution is upon us. Peace and blessings, fam. All right, y'all. I'm off the radio. But I have to say to each and every one of you that are on the show today or listen to me on the show today, I'm going to be here every Sunday. I don't care if I'm in my kitchen, I'm in my studio, I'm in my office. I'm going to make sure that you guys get this information because it's really, really critically important. Things are changing and we need to learn or get left behind. Peace and blessings, fam. I love you. I appreciate you. And have a great day.